2024 was the most I've ever spent on travel, so let's do a quick recap of all the trips I went on and how much they cost compared to what I budgeted for. My first trip was a week in Miami in January. I went with the college swim team that I coach for, so all my expenses were paid for this trip. In March, I visited my sister in DC for 5 days, 4 nights. I budgeted $400 and I ended up spending $350. I stayed with my sister, so lodging was free, and a lot of what we did was just sightseeing and walking around, so that was free. So most of the cost was my flight and food. In April, I went to the Florida Keys with my boyfriend. We spent 5 days, 4 nights there. I budgeted $800 and I ended up spending $800. I believe we used points for the flights, so most of our cost was hotels and food, which are both very expensive down there. In May, I did a Vegas/Zion National Park trip with some friends. It was 7 days, 6 nights. I budgeted $1,200 and I ended up spending $950. Not only is Zion absolutely gorgeous, but a lot of the Airbnbs in the area are really affordable, which is awesome. And my boyfriend also gets like a 40% discount off rental cars through his company, so that saves us a ton of money. In June, I went to St. Augustine, Florida for my best friend's bachelorette. It was 4 days, 3 nights. I budgeted $1,000 and I ended up spending $575. My friend was super mindful of people's budgets, which I really appreciate, and in general, St. Augustine is really affordable. Our Airbnb was on the beach, as you can see, and it was only like $300 a person for 3 nights, and also the drinks at bars were so cheap. It was like $3 for a mixed drink, so definitely check out St. Augustine if you're looking for a budget-friendly bachelorette. In September, my boyfriend and I went to Southern California for 11 days, 10 nights. We were visiting some friends in San Diego, and then we went to Santa Barbara for our other friend's wedding. I budgeted $1,000 and I ended up spending $1,200. I don't think we used any points for the flights, and then for the hotel, we only had to pay for the weekend hotel in Santa Barbara. The rest of the trip, we were staying with our friends in San Diego. In October, we went to Chicago to visit our friend there. We spent 4 days, 3 nights. I budgeted $400 and I ended up spending $465. We drove from Minneapolis and we stayed with our friend at his condo, so that made our trip very budget friendly. And my last trip of the year was in December. We went to Jackson, Wyoming for a ski trip. We spent 4 days, 3 nights there. I budgeted $800 and I ended up spending $930. We got our lift tickets and gear rentals covered by my work, which I'm so thankful for. Otherwise, we would not have gone on this trip because ski trips are so expensive. The thing I love about Jackson Hole though is that you don't need a rental car because the town is so small and there's lots of shuttles that go from the town to the ski resort, so that definitely saved money on this trip. That brings this year's traveling total to $5,278, which is a little bit under my $5,600 budget I set for myself. If you're curious how I came up with my traveling budget, I made it to be about 10% of my take-home pay.